A times C. So what is A times C? A negative 60. So that's going to go here. And then it has to sum up to what? Positive 11. So in your calculator, you're going to do y equals negative 60 divided by x, right? Put that into your calculator, and let's see what the factors are. God bless you. What are the factors? Negative 4 and positive 15. So we have been using factor by grouping. Today I'm going to show you a factor box. So you take your two terms and you put them in your box. Negative 4k and positive 15k. So this is the other method. This is called a factor box. And I'm just showing you this because some of you guys like this method better than factor by grouping. So when you use a factor box, you are going to look for the greatest common factor in the rows and in the columns. So let's look at the rows first. What is the greatest common factor in this row between 3k squared and negative 4k? What's the greatest common factor? A k. Yeah, that's the only thing that I can take out, a k. Let's look at the next row. What is the greatest common factor in this row? A 5. And it's going to be a positive 5. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. So I want you to notice that one of your factors are negative and one of them is positive. So when we end up with our binomials, one of them is going to have a minus on the inside and one of them is going to have a plus on the inside, okay? So now let's look at the columns. Now we're going to look at the columns. What is the greatest common factor in that column? Say it again. Yeah, 3K. Awesome. So we're going to take a 3K. This is the worksheet that we did yesterday. We're doing the odds together on that worksheet because I'm going to show them the factor box. So we're going to take a 3K out of here. So I can take a 3K out. And what about this column? What's the greatest common factor? A negative 4. So 3K minus 4 and K plus 5. So I do want to check this one to make sure you guys remember how to check it. I want to check this one. Can someone tell me how to check? How do I check to make sure that my binomial is correct? What are you doing there, Cece? I know that your method is right. Do you remember what that's called? Okay. Cece's saying draw arrows over. FOIL, right? So 3K times K is 3K squared. 3K times a positive 5 is plus 15K. Negative 4 times K is negative 4K. And negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. So when I combine my like terms, I have 3K squared. This is a K. Sorry, it didn't take all the way. Plus 11K minus 20. And that should be what we started with. And it is. Do you guys see that? You get it? So the factors, when I factor this polynomial, dang it, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want it to all erase. The factors are right here. This is the answer. Okay. So we're going to try to use the factor box. And I drew them for you and kind of filled them in so you guys understand the process. You can choose to use this method or you can use the grouping method. Okay. I'll try to go back and forth between the two. So let's see. This should be number 7. Number 7 on your worksheet. So what am I putting in the product? A times C is what? Negative 70. Has to sum up to 69.
So that's like 70 times, like it's 70 times negative 1.
It is 70 times negative 1. Good job. 70 times negative 1. So I just want to kind of point out what's going on in your factor box. So the first term in your trinomial is the first term in your factor box. The last term is the last term. Does that make sense? The two factors that you choose are what you put in here, and it doesn't matter where you put them. It doesn't matter if you like what order you put them in. Okay? It doesn't matter what order you put them in because you're still going to do the greatest common factor of the row and the column. So they'll eventually be next to each other. So let's do the rows first. So the greatest common factor of this row, these are V's. I'm so sorry. These should be V's, not K's. I'm on the last problem still. V's. That's my brain today. Sorry. V's. I apologize. So the greatest common factor of this row is what? 7V. I can take a 7V out of both terms. Okay. What about this row? What's the greatest common factor? A -1. Both terms are negative, so I need to have one negative term. So there we go, -1. Now let's do the columns. What's the greatest common factor of this column? I can take what out of both? A V. I can take a V out of the 7V squared and out of the -V. So I can take a V out. If you want to put a 1V, that's fine, if that makes your brain feel better. And then what about this column? A 10, and it's a positive 10. So my factors are 7V minus 1 times 1V plus 10. Okay. Now, some of you were not here yesterday for the factor by grouping, so let's do the next one using the grouping method that we learned yesterday. Is that okay? All right. So I'm going to do this one. I'm not going to use the box for this one. This one we're going to do by the grouping method that you learned yesterday. So let's see. Let's talk about my product. What am I looking for? 9 times 8 is 72. Okay. And what is my sum? 38. It's the B value. This is your sum. Okay. So 38. Let's see. What are the two numbers that I multiply together to get to get 72, that when I add them, I get 38? Mary Stewart. Yeah, 2 and 36. Good job. 2 and 36. So we're not going to use the box on this one. We're going to use the grouping method that we did yesterday. Someone explain to me how to do that. How did we do that? Because there are a couple of students in here that weren't here yesterday. So someone kind of share the steps. Do you guys remember what we did? We took this middle term and we're going to replace it with these two, right? So we rewrite it as 9x squared plus 2x plus 36x plus 8. And then we group them 2 terms at a time. So much like the factor box, we're looking for the greatest common factor. We're looking for the greatest common factor. So what is the greatest common factor in that first grouping? X. Yeah, I can only take an X out. Walter, ¿qué necesita? What are you? Oh, you need your pencil. Okay, so if I take an X out, what am I left with? 9x plus 2. I'm dividing each term by x, right? So what can I take out of the next grouping? A 4. And it's a positive 4, so I'm going to write plus 4. And when I take out that plus 4, let's see, 36 divided by 4 is 9. X, 8 divided by 4 is plus 2. So do I have my repeated term? Yeah, and it's exactly the same. I have to have that. So 9x plus 2 times what's left over? X plus 4. Okay. I feel like looking at homework, this method is good for some of you, but when we use the grouping method, a lot of you guys forgot about the variable terms. A lot of you forgot the variable terms. So I just had 2 numbers in the parentheses, something like just constant terms in there. So this next one, we're going to use the factor box again, and then we'll talk about a preference, which one you guys like better. So I think this is number 11. Number 11, and again, this is from your worksheet. So what am I putting in the product? What am I looking for a product? 224. Is it 224 or? Yeah, it's negative 224, right? Because that's a negative 56. So negative 224. And it has to sum up to 25. Okay. So Hayden, while you're putting that in there, will you tell me just some of the factors so we can make sure everybody understands how that works? Just list some of your factors. Do you mind?
1 and negative 224. 2 and negative 112. 4 and negative 56. 7 negative 32. 8 and negative 28. And 14 negative 16.
And 14 negative 16. Okay, so the difference that I'm looking for is 25, right? This is not going to give me a difference of 25. Zach, will you take your hood off, please, and thank you. Thank you, sir. This is not going to give me a difference of 25. This is not going to give me a difference of 25. What about negative 32 and positive 7? What's the difference between those two?
25.
Yeah, it's actually negative 25. So if I want a positive 25, what? Make the 7 negative and the 32 positive. Yeah, that's what I want you guys to understand. So my 7 is going to be negative and my 32 is going to be positive. So I'm going to put those in my box, negative 7 in and positive 32. Oh, dang it. Positive 32 in. And then I'm going to look for the greatest common factor in the rows and in the columns. So let's see. In the first row, 4n squared minus 7n, the greatest common factor is n. Yeah. In the second row, 32n minus 56, the greatest common factor is 8. It's going to be a positive. Now let's look at our first column. 4n squared and 32n. The greatest common factor is 4n. And a negative 7n and a negative 56. It's going to be a negative 7. Negative 7. So my factors are n plus 8 times the quantity 4n minus 7. If I were to check this by foiling, check, let's see. N times 4n is 4n squared. N times negative 7 is negative 7n. 8 times 4 is a positive 32, so that gives me 32n. And 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. When I combine my terms in the middle, I end up with the positive 25n that I started with. Do you guys see that? So that works. We did it properly. Okay. So what method do you guys think you like the best? You like the grouping method? Yeah. What do you guys think? Grouping or factor box? Grouping? Okay, so can we do the last two using the grouping method? Okay, cool. So let's see. This should be number 13, I think. What are we putting on the time side? What are we putting on the product? 168, a positive 168. And it has to add up to 59. Yeah. And I haven't done these two yet. So y equals 168 divided by x, right? And I'm looking for a difference of 59. 3 and 56, a positive 3 and a positive 56. So I'm going to use the grouping method that we learned yesterday. So remember, I'm replacing this term with the positive 3n and a positive 56n. Okay. So let's see. Group. So between 8n squared and 3n, what can I divide out of both of those? What can I factor out, divide both of those by? N. I'm going to divide them both by n. Yep. Zach B, you with me? Zach, we're on number, you with us? Looks like you're just hardcore sleeping. When I take an n out, I'm left with 8n plus 3. 8n plus 3. We're on number 13, Zach. Number 13. Okay. What about your second grouping? What can I take out of the second grouping? I can take out a 7. Yeah. Divide by 7. So it's a positive 7. And that's going to give me an 8n plus 3. Do I have a copycat? Exactly the same. One term is exactly the same as the other. 8n plus 3. And then what's left over? N plus 7. Okay. I'm going to freeze the screen and let you guys do the last one. I'm going to let you do the last one. Walter, do you have a calculator? No? Here, use mine. This is mine, okay? So make sure I get it back. So I already did the negative. I already multiplied those two. So your product is negative 126. This is negative 126, negative. And negative 14. So what are your factors? What factors are going to give you a difference of 14? Each one are 14 apart. Let's see, 56 minus 3 is 53. 42 minus 4 is 38. 28 minus 6 is 22. What's 24 minus 7? Yeah, 20. It's this, right? So you want 1 to be negative. Negative. 24. And 4. And 7 positive. Perfect. So that's what you're going to put right here. Okay. Perfect.
It'll be q plus negative 63 or negative 63 plus 0. Will that really make a difference?
So it has to add up. Oh, you know what? Walter, I did that one wrong. Stop. I did that one wrong. Yeah, I'm doing it wrong. Sorry. I haven't had, yes, you're right. I am so sorry, Walter. Negative 61. That is so funny. So it's going to be a negative 62 and a positive 2. Negative 63 and a positive 2. Negative 63x, positive 2x. Walter, lo siento. Negative 61. Negative 63, positive 2. Oh, no pens. Okay. So 9x squared minus 63x plus 2x minus 4. I see your hand, ma'am. Give me 1 second.
Entonces, 2 más negativo 63, lo tiene que hacer 61. Y lo hace, ¿verdad?
You are doing it right.
Entonces, no vamos a usar
So, common factor, yes, I'm an x. So when you take an x out, this is 9x.
Vas a meter esta aquí.
So what do you have left?
Menos.
9x plus 2.
Así.
And
Más 2x menos 14. Y así
then, so if you take an x out, we need to put that on. So it's kind of left over and over. So if I take out negative 7, negative 63 divided by negative 7, positive 9, and that's what we need. And negative divided by negative is a positive 14 times 7 is 2. So that way you have your copycat. That comes first.
Antes que llega por el 60.
Okay. Hayden. What? Yeah. Yes, I know.
Just want to make sure this is like right. So
9x plus 2x minus 7. Absolutely perfect. Do you want to put it on the board? Okay. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay. So we're using the grouping method that we did yesterday. Or do you like, which method do you like better? Then use the box. Yeah. Hayden used the box. He likes the box better. So we're going to put the 2x. It doesn't matter where we put them. So I'm going to put the 2x here and the negative 63x right here. So greatest common factor.
Okay, so
Between 9x squared and negative 63x. 9x, right? So take out a 9x. Okay. The greatest common factor here in that row. 2. So it's a positive 2, so plus 2. Okay. Greatest common factor in that column. Mhm. And the greatest common factor in that column. So it's what I use. Yes, they're both alike. Both terms are. See, both terms are negative. So you need to take out a negative 7 because one of your terms has to be positive, one has to be negative. Good job. So you have 9x plus 2. Hayden, I thought you were going to write it on the board. You chose not to? Okay. Cece, you got it? Yeah. Or do you have a question? You have a question? Okay. Yes, sign out. Okay, so I'm going to unfreeze it so you guys can see. Yes, sir. I used I did the box and the grouping method. Box and grouping, you should end up with x minus 7 and 9x plus 2. Okay, so did you put it into your calculator? You write it. So figure out what that is, right? So what are you doing in here? Okay, you always put the product in. Always. We're always putting the product in. So y equals what? What's the product? Okay, divided by x. I'm looking for negative 126 is my product, adds up to negative 61. So 21 and 6 42 and negative 42 and 3 is negative 39.
Sorry, negative 63. So it's negative 63 and positive 2. So try it out so you can see. Negative 63 and positive 2. Are the signs the same or are they different? Are these the same or are they different? No, I take no, señor. One, no, señor, por eso hay que decir. Isn't that what you're looking for? So you're going to use negative 63 positive 2. Lo que sería que greatest common factor here. Or you like to repeat. I mean, go. 9x squared minus 3.
It's not even funny. Like I was just went to the bathroom to rise.
All right, I'm going to stop the video and show you guys your homework. I'm going to stop this and show you your homework for today. And then I want to talk to you about what you're doing tomorrow.